From a serpent-infested aircraft 20,000 feet in the air, it's the IGN Digigods. Now, please welcome two men who've had it with these mother-effing snakes on this mother-effing plane. Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Oh, Bob, our listeners are so hip. Which one of them gave us that gem?
Jason Kroons.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, thank you, Jason. Love it. Before we get into the show, Mark, I need to address a certain thing that kind of impacts us in a crossover way. I, of course, have not been on Stupid for Movies for a number of weeks, and there are all kinds of ridiculous rumors floating around. I need to put them to rest.
So this is not a Paul is dead
no
type controversy.
Well, there are people who are like, oh well, he's doing the DVD podcast. Why isn't he on Stupid for Movies? And here's honestly, I'm going to be posting a statement to the Stupid for Movies Facebook page, and it will be addressed on the next Stupid for Movies show as well. Just for personal reasons, my time has become severely handicapped. My time not just to do Stupid for Movies, but to actually see newer films as opposed to the DVDs, which I can do at home. But for reviewing newer films, it's a time-consuming pursuit. We have screenings in the evening, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes 2 and 3 of them backed up. You got to go there. There's drive time, severe commute time, sometimes in heavy traffic. And all of that, then on top of that is the Thursday night Stupid for Movies. It's a live show. It's got to be done on a certain day. The movies have to be seen by that day. And for personal reasons, a whole lot of things have been going on that I'm just unable to maintain that schedule at the moment. Could change in the future. Hopefully will change again. It's a little bit out of my control, but until I can sort it all out, I'm going to be in absentia from Stupid for Movies. So it's going to be a little while at least before there's any indication whether or not I can come back to the show. So in the meantime, I can continue to do the podcast. And I will continue to do the podcast. Stupid for Movies and actual regular box office reviews are going to be fewer and further between. I will probably still be able to show up on KPCC once a month. That's probably still manageable, although that remains to be seen depending on what the commitment is. So I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to be active in social media, and I'm still going to be here on this podcast. I've just got to scale back the schedule a little bit. It's become a little too time-consuming.
Well, when it comes to your participation in Stupid for Movies, let me just say good riddance.
Thank you.
But obviously, I will go on.
Yes.
And we're trying to...
And I support you wholeheartedly.
And I support you wholeheartedly in no longer doing the show.
Thank you.
So we support each other wholeheartedly in our doing and not doing of the show. But as you know, a couple weeks ago we had Brent Simon sit in, and then last week we had Luke Thompson sit in. They were both terrific.
Both good friends of mine.
And
they did bravely.
Yes, they did. Although I don't know if you saw this, but on Brent's show, one of the light towers
almost killed him.
Yes, it almost killed both of us. Actually,
that's pretty cool.
Not really.
Okay, maybe not.
After 50 shows, someone almost died.
And I wasn't there.
You were not there.
Yeah.
So we
it's amazing what telekinesis can do, isn't it?
You just want the whole thing to go down. It was in flames. So we are currently trying to find a fill-in host, someone who could maybe segue into a permanent host.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm reaching out to a bunch of LAFCA members, and obviously, as Wade is saying, when you're a film critic, it really is, although it seems like a lot of fun, and it is a time commitment, and not everybody can see all the movies that are necessary to see. Come out to the Streaming Garage Thursdays at 8 to come do the show. So really, the bottom line is that Mike wound up getting the two either best critics for this particular project, Wade and I, or the two dumbest suckers for the project, Wade and I. So it was really inevitable that at some point, if we were going to keep going on, especially for no money, somebody would have to eventually bow out. And Wade has, Wade knows that he has my support no matter what he chooses to do. And I'm all on board with him taking off.
And either way, I'm not vanishing. I'll still show up in the chat rooms and thereabouts, and I will still be in the mix. It's it's just one of those things that I have to. There's some low-lying fruit that simply has to drop off the tree, and seeing a lot of the movies that make me valid on Stupid for Movies have to be part of that fruit, which unfortunately drags Stupid for Movies with it. So, that being said, let's get into the wonderful world of DVD and Blu-rays.
Wade, I have a quiz for you.
Hit me with the quiz.
This isn't much of a quiz because you should know the answer. As of this moment, and when I say this moment, I mean May 1st.
Yes.
Number one selling Blu-ray of all time. Now, I'm going to give you 3 options.
Yes.
And you tell me which one it is.
Okay.
This is not much of a challenge.
Okay.
But I'm going to go there anyway.
That's fine.
Is it the number one selling Blu-ray of all time? Not rental.
Okay.
Sales. Let's see. Is it The Dark Knight?
Okay.
Is it Avatar?
Okay.
Or is it Inception?
I'm going to say it's wow. There's 2 Christopher Nolan films in there. I'm going to say it's iCarly season 4, part 1.
What?
I'm going to say Avatar.
That's because it is Avatar.
Yeah.
The number one selling Blu-ray of all time. Now, there's some good Blu-rays coming up in the near future, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
One of them not being Limitless. Bradley Cooper. By the way, Bradley Cooper speaks French.
I'm going to have to powwow with him at some point. I got to find out why.
Why he speaks French?
Yeah.
I had read somewhere that he lived in France for a year.
I want to know where he lived. I got to bond with him over that. That helps.
I don't know what to make of that guy. Do I like him?
Bradley Cooper? He's a very nice guy. I think he's a decent actor in the right part. I think they're trying to turn him into the kind of star he's not fit to be.
Yeah.
It's something that happens. That happened to it happens to a lot of actors and actresses when they'll get one hit, and then suddenly their people think, oh, they're a gold mine. And you can't necessarily translate that super mega success from one very fortunate film into a huge star vehicle lifetime. But they try it all the time. Bradley Cooper's been sucked into that. Ellen Page was sucked into that for a moment. I think that's cooled off a little bit. They tried to make her the next hottest thing of all time. They tried it with what's her name, Alicia Silverstone.
That is true. And
that didn't fly.
I never found Matt Damon to be that guy, but somehow he became that guy. Like, he did the Bourne films. I can't see him as being a super spy thriller leading man, Harrison Ford.
True, but Bradley Cooper is not Matt Damon. He's not that kind of actor.
No.
Bradley Cooper is the guy who played the buddy in movie after movie after movie for a long time, and then got The Hangover, and The Hangover kind of made people think maybe he's a leading man. I don't think he's a leading man. I think he's great in ensembles. I think there may be a dimension to him that we haven't seen yet in something else, but we'll see.
The only decent Blu-ray coming out in July, well, not the only one, but one of the better ones, is Amelie.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Outstanding.
That should make a great Blu-ray.
Amelie.
Because it is so amazingly well shot.
It is. It's a gorgeous film.
Now, Wade, here's the thing. At some point, I'm going to eat two of these cookies that were baked by your wife.
That's right.
She's being very, very nice to me. She's usually not nice to me. Now, why? How come today?
She made some cookies last night, and she said, "Here, take these to Mark." She knows that you like cookies.
You know what I made this morning?
What'd you make?
This has nothing to do with
Huh.
I have discovered that I love cooking.
Well, good for you.
I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I love cooking.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's great.
It's therapeutic.
Every weekend, I make something.
Look, I love cooking. Let me tell you something. Before we get into DVDs and Blu-rays, we've already chewed up 8 minutes of the show without talking about a single title, and we got a ton to deal with, tons of movies. But I got to tell you something. We've got tons of cookware. A lot of great cookware out there. I'm going to plug only one cookware brand because we just bought a new pan of this other brand of cookware. I'm in love, passionately in love. Demeyer, Demeyere. It's Belgian. They've been around for over 100 years. It is spectacular. I want to make love to this cookware.
Let me guess. I guarantee you that the smallest saucepan they make is $150.
The 8-inch frying pan is $200.
You see, here's your problem. Your problem is that you think if it's more expensive, it's better.
No, honestly, this was such a joy to cook on. It was such a joy to clean up. It was incredible. It was the most magnificent piece of metal I've ever handled. And there's a special line, the John Pawson line, which is designed by the British architect John Pawson, which is just beautiful beyond belief. The John Pawson line of Demeyer cookware. You will never find anything more beautiful or more fun in your life.
It's a pan.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I remember, and I can't believe I just flashed on this. I remember an article when they relaunched.
Show.
I know when they relaunched Star Trek: The Next Generation, like in the mid '90s or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, '90s. So it was like '87, '94, something like that. I remember them seeing an interview about designing the 24th century.
Yes.
And now everything they design has to be 24th centuryized.
Yes.
And the production designer and the prop people were interviewed, and they said, you know what? We went back and forth on what things would look like in the 24th century.
Yes.
But after a while, a glass just has to hold water.
Sure.
It can't be. There is no 24th century glass. It just has to hold water. So some of the stuff they just stopped trying to over-design.
Well, water or Tranya.
This is Tranya.
That's right.
I hope you enjoyed as much as I. By the way, what did I make this morning? Ask me.
What did you make this morning?
I made short rib jambalaya.
Ooh, it sounds kind of cool and nasty.
Oh, okay. It's great. The only thing is that the rice was.
We got Blu-rays to talk about.
No, hang on. I'm almost done.
Okay.
It was delicious, and it is delicious, and
Yeah.
it'll be delicious again because I made a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the only problem is that the rice is so undercooked, and I did it based on the recipe.
Oh no, you got to get yourself a Japanese rice cooker.
Well, what I should have
There's some good ones out there.
Well, what I should have done is here's what the recipe didn't tell you. The recipe should have told you to cook the rice first and then put it into the jambalaya before
Yes.
you bake it for the final 30 minutes. They didn't tell you that.
Losing fans left and right. All right, I'm going to talk about a couple of these 3D Blu-rays, and then Mark is going to unleash on the baseball stuff that we have in store for
I
Father's
love
Day.
my Mets. They're the best
team
ever.
So much baseball stuff. We got a couple of 3D Blu-rays right here, and you know what? I am not going to rip on them. Even though I rip on 3D routinely, I'm not going to rip on these. And they both come with also 2D versions available. So if you don't want to watch them in 3D, you don't have to. The first one is Cirque du Soleil Journey of Man in 3D. And you know what? Look, it's Cirque du freaking Soleil. If you're going to watch something in 3D that's gimmicky, if you're going to use the 3D gimmick on something, you might as well watch something that is gimmicky just in concept. And Cirque du Soleil is freaking gimmicky beyond all belief. The DP on this is Reed Smoot, who is a veteran and very, very good DP. If you don't know the name Reed Smoot, you don't follow cinematography. So it looks gorgeous. Now, this thing had a brief theatrical run and did okay, but you know, I think it almost plays better at home. The 3D is actually surprisingly effective, but does it really enhance it? I don't know. I think it's fine in 2D. But it really is. It's actually kind of cool. It's the whole Cirque du Soleil thing. It's not a filmed show. It's an actual movie. So they kind of took their weirdness and their cheesiness and extended it into the world of movies. And then we also have the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit 2011 edition, the 3D experience. This was inevitable, wasn't it? Taking the Sports Illustrated whole swimsuit concept. I mean, this thing is it started as a magazine when I was a kid, and now we've got 3D Blu-rays. It's not even enough. It went to VHS and then DVD 3D Blu-rays now. It is not pornographic, so
I'm not watching it.
There you go. A lot of people are just going to write it off. No, honestly, this is not as lurid as people always make it out to be. It's really good photography. It's great videography. And, beautiful women in bikinis. I don't know anybody who's going to argue with that. The 3D part of it leaves a little bit to be desired. But, you know, you get the 3D and the 2D version in it. And if 3D is your thing, honestly, this is a whole lot better than watching, like, Up in 3D.
You'll get up when you watch that in 3D.
There we go.
Bam!
Zing!
Ba-bam.
Where? Oh, we need a band. We need a rim shot for you when you do that one. All right, Mark, tell us about baseball. Father's Day. What can Dad look forward to?
Well, we're talking baseball. Here's what we have. A whole bunch of stuff, and we will end with an unbelievable box set that you've just got to get your hands on. The first thing I'll talk about is look, I'm a big Met fan. Everyone knows I'm a big Met fan.
Sure.
Went to all 5 games of the Met-Yankee World Series.
That's really impressive.
Yes, I did for free.
Yeah.
By
Good
the way,
for you.
I have a fan brick embedded in the horrible new stadium we have, Citi Field.
Sweet.
And yet, I would never buy talking baseball the New York Mets.
Why?
Now, you know what? Here's the thing. This guy, Ed Randall, he's spent his whole life in baseball, talking to baseball, celebrating the game. He's a huge fan. He's like guy's like a reporter pretty much. He's a great interviewer. And here he interviews a whole bunch of great New York Mets, including Tom Seaver, my very first baseball hero, Keith Hernandez, first baseman for the 86 Mets, Bob Murphy, and Ralph Kiner, who latter was a player, they both later became Met broadcasters, Ron Darling, Howard Johnson. Great people, interesting insights, fun stuff. I just feel like you've got to be a total Met completist to really want this. Now, this is volume 1, which covers basically the early years of the Mets. I'm sure in Volume 2, although I don't know this for a fact, In Volume 2, you'll get maybe the latter years, like in 2000 when they made the World Series. So you know what? The interviews are great, terrific. If you're a total, complete, unbelievable Met completist, go for it. Otherwise, pass. Bottom of the Ninth is an interesting documentary from Chuck Braverman, and this is it's a documentary about the New Jersey Somerset Patriots minor league baseball team. Now, people don't, baseball is a little unique in that, unlike football, where you go, let's say, from college to the pros.
Yes.
And unlike basketball, where you go, let's say, from college to the pros. It's not even high school to the pros sometimes in basketball.
Yeah.
In baseball, you go from college.
Yes.
You get drafted by a major league team.
Yes.
And you then go to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
You go to single A, graduate to double A.
Right.
Graduate to triple A.
Play in the farm leagues.
Play in the farm leagues.
Yeah.
So baseball has those sometimes years of these players that they just play in the minor. Some of them never leave the minor leagues. Some of them never make the major leagues. Some of them make the major leagues for 3 games, and it's the greatest 3 days of their life, and then they go back down to the minors, and that's it.
Well, the NBA has the D-League, which is similar.
No one talks about the D-League.
That's true.
So this is the story of the New Jersey Somerset Patriots, and these are guys. Some of them are lifers. Some of them are just that close to making it to the show. And you hear some of these minor league players. They make no money. They really don't. They make no money. They pack their own bags. They carry them out to the bus, and they're driving down the lonely highway from game to game, and they just love. And the difference between AAA and the major leagues is unbelievable. All of a sudden, someone else is carrying your luggage. You're on a chartered plane. You get treated like royalty. There's 50,000 screaming fans. It's really amazing. These people, they have these dreams, and they never let it go. And that's part of the fun of Bottom of the Ninth. So this is good stuff. And it features Sparky Lyle and John Montefusco, and who are former major leaguers. That's good stuff. 61, this is the Blu-ray of 61. This is the Barry Pepper, Thomas Jane film that is all about Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris trying to beat Babe Ruth's 1927 single-season home run record. And the audio commentary is by Billy Crystal, who also directed the film, because Billy Crystal, as I'm sure you know, is a huge baseball fan and a huge Yankee fan, but we'll forgive him for that. By the way, Seinfeld, Met fan. Just saying.
Really? I didn't know that.
Seinfeld is a huge Met fan. Actually,
awesome.
Seinfeld is not only a huge Met fan, he spent literally $5 million for 10 years of a box in Citi Field. He's got a box in Citi Field for 10 years that he spent $5 million on.
No kidding.
And there was a big controversy earlier this year because one of the days that Seinfeld wasn't there, some dignitary showed up to the stadium or some mucky muck.
Sure.
And there was no place for this guy to sit. He was a big mucky muck.
Right.
So they just had him sit in Seinfeld's box.
Yeah.
Which is not proper. Seinfeld paid for that box, and you just can't put people in the box without telling them.
Wow.
And it was kind of a big deal.
And he was a big mucky muck.
I can't remember who it was.
As opposed to a muck biggie big.
As opposed to a small mucky muck. Anyway,
Okay.
61 is a good film. You know what? Billy Crystal has a real love of the game, and it was an interesting time in Major League Baseball.
I still feel like 61 stands. I think everyone since that time who has actually gotten more than 61, all 3 of those steroid-injected jerks, I think their records should be eviscerated. I do.
You do really?
Seriously, I do. I honestly do. I think Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire, as far as I'm concerned, all 3 of them, the only way they managed to beat 61 was by juicing up to an unbelievable degree. And you look at Roger Maris, I'm sorry, he was a slightly built guy.
They all were.
They all were.
All those
Mickey,
guys
Mickey
during that era?
Mantle, all of them. Hank Aaron, for crying out loud. Hank Aaron had a belly. He had a belly. The guy hit his 700 and whatever home run, and he had a little old belly trotting around the bases. Babe Ruth was fat, not juicing, not steroidal, fat.
So what are you saying?
I don't know.
That he was fat? 2 more things from the baseball front. When It Was a Game is available on Blu-ray, and this is an interesting thing. This is an HBO documentary which it tells the story of baseball from around the late 20s, kind of like the Depression era, through the 50s. So really this is sort of the pre-war, through the war, and right up through Jackie Robinson in 47. And this is a terrific documentary because you get all these great Hall of Fame players, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ty Cobb, Joe DiMaggio, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax. And, there's some great old footage here that I don't think you guys have seen in decades. I know I haven't seen it, so it was great to see that stuff again. You know, Ebbets Field and Briggs Stadium, Crosley Field, just great old stadiums that they just don't make them anymore. And when it was a game, it's a good documentary. It really is. It was an interesting time in America, and it was back when baseball was the patriotic game. You know, America was baseball, and the thing is that it's not that way anymore. You know, football really is America's game at this point. But when you're talking about the Depression era and the war and after the war, baseball was America's game. And this is back when that could not have been truer. When It Was a Game is a very good documentary. It's on Blu-ray. You know, why? Why not? So, so some of the footage is so vintage that it doesn't need to be on Blu-ray, but it is.
You're making a soccer lover almost feel teary-eyed for baseball.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
By the way, can I just say that I went to this party last night, right?
Uh-oh.
And
was it one of those parties?
No.
People
exactly.
taking their clothes off?
It was a key party.
Air mattresses?
Water beds?
Yeah.
No. And one of the guys there was from South Africa.
Oh.
So he's talking about football, soccer.
Yeah.
You know. And just because I don't really know, I say to him, I don't understand the whole league thing. There's the Premier League, there's the Championship League, there's the World Cup League. And I say, can you explain it to me? He goes, it's very simple. And then an hour and a half later, he finishes explaining it. And I still don't know what the hell he's talking about. I don't get it. I just don't. In baseball, there's two leagues, American and National.
I can explain it as well, but it ain't that simple. It really isn't. I mean, it's sort of simple. It's there's club teams, there's conferences, there's national teams, and then there are a lot of tournaments that crisscross all of them.
The World Series film collection from...
yeah.
Okay, guys.
This is unbelievable.
This is the big one.
Like, if anybody gives this to their dad, dad will just keel over backwards.
So if you love your dad, don't give him the official Major League Baseball World Series film collection. This is Hall of Fame stuff, dude. This is good.
And the price of this thing is all over the map on the internet.
You know, at Borders, this thing's $200. On Amazon, it's $58.99.
Isn't that bizarre?
That is bizarre.
I mean, how does Borders expect to make any money?
This is 20 discs that assembles highlights from World Series between 1943 and 2008. So this is a monumental set. It has 66 World Series films, forward by Bob Costas, who we all know and love. By the way, Bob Costas, born in Comac, where I lived until I was 10. Thank you very much. 50 hours of newly restored, digitized footage, a 58-page World Series pictorial retrospective. I mean, this is amazing stuff. 20 discs. I mean, the first disc is you're starting with the 43 Yankees, the 44 Cardinals, and then you're making it all the way to the last disc, which is the Red Sox second World Series win in 2007 and the 2008 Phillies. And this is unbelievable. This is so much stuff. This is like soup to nuts. It is big and heavy and beautiful, and it looks amazing. And it is just gorgeous. The official Major League Baseball World Series collection. All I can say is get it on Amazon. It's $58.
Totally. Seriously.
I mean, it's at least over $100 everywhere else.
And it's also you can probably use.
Don't say it's a doorstopper.
No, I'm not. I was going to say it would make it's like a great cornerstone for a skyscraper too.
It really is.
This thing is huge and heavy.
It is huge and heavy.
Gosh, I could beat you over the head,
but it is
put you in the hospital.
It is very impressive.
It is. Quick music note here: AC/DC.
Yeah.
Let there be rock.
You don't like AC/DC.
Not particularly. Although I did enjoy when I was a kid singing along to that one song. Dirty Knees and the Bumblebees?
No, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Oh, see, I always thought it was Dirty Knees and the Bumblebees.
You're out of your mind.
That's I credit our friend Mark Jaffe with that.
Not funny.
It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, there's a DVD of it, AC/DC Let There Be Rock, just a regular old, 13 classic songs on a DVD.
If you want the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Now, this is from their 1979 Paris concert. Now, AC/DC,
this is the Blu-ray DVD combo pack, which is a 10, which is awesome and huge, and it's just so much more intimidating than the regular old run-of-the-mill DVD. So get the combo.
30th anniversary of the legendary concert film.
Oh, yeah.
Now, AC/DC, as you know, they're Australian. They're not American, but in 1979, they played Paris. They played Highway to Hell, A Whole Lot of Rosie, Let There Be Rock, and Angus Young with his schoolboy outfit, and it's just... great. The only issue with the Blu-ray, it's not an issue. I mean, look, this is a really old footage, and there's only so much Blu-ray is going to do with it. There's only so much Blu-ray is going to add to the experience of watching a 30-year-old film. So I wouldn't necessarily buy the Blu-ray thinking that you're going to get amazing video. The audio is very good. The audio is great. There's a lossless DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix, and the original mix is in Dolby 2.0, which is fine, but you definitely got to go with the Master Audio 5.1, which sounds fantastic. And there's some great collectible bonuses. There's a 32-page liner note book, a souvenir guitar pick, collector's cards, which are stupid, and it's good stuff. So and it's also like a collectible tin. And there's a bunch of bonus features, too.
Totally.
So I even though the Blu-ray doesn't give you much because it's such old footage, go ahead and get the Blu-ray.
There we go.
I'm eating a cookie now.
Do it. Eat a cookie. I'm going to blow through
I like cookies.
Where are we on our
Someone
time?
send me their favorite cookie recipe. I'll make it and eat it on the show.
All right. We are not yet halfway through the show. We're starting to pick up. We're making up for lost time. I got some foreign language films I'm going to blow through here. You got to get yourself some of these. This is, if you love yourself some De Sica, thank you to E1. E1 is coming out with some really good stuff. This is Vittorio De Sica. Vittorio De Sica as in the one who made Umberto
Bicycle
D
Thief.
and the Bicycle Thieves and all that. It's the Bicycle Thieves, not the Bicycle Thief. Mistranslation.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
When I found that out,
Yeah.
I was disappointed. You know why?
Why?
Because the Bicycle Thief, better title.
It is, but they're multiple guys.
Because you think the Bicycle Thief is the guy who stole the bike.
Yeah, but
at
there's
the
more
beginning.
of them.
It turns out the Bicycle Thief is him.
There you go.
That's ironical. That's
I
a
guess.
geeky twist.
Good cookie, right?
It is a good cookie.
Yeah.
You know why it's a good cookie?
Why?
It has a little bit of salt.
Oh, there you go.
So,
I'll let her know. The Oscar-winning Vittorio De Sica film Shoeshine, one of the great classics of neorealism, even though he is better known, obviously, for The Bicycle Thieves/Thief or Umberto D. Shoeshine is the one that got him an Oscar, and wow, it's beautiful. It is just so beautiful. I wish it were on Blu-ray. Alas, it is not. It's just out on DVD. So eventually, in the meantime, you got to get it on DVD. Beautiful black and white, terrific audio commentary with writer Bert Cardullo, who it's a good commentary. You know, it's not brilliant, but it's scholarly and it's intelligent and it fills in all the blanks that you would necessarily want. This is the story of a couple. You know, like all of these things, it's about poverty and class distinctions in Italy as it tries to rebuild after World War II. And this is about a couple of kids, a couple of street kids in Rome, Giuseppe and Pasquale, who shine the shoes of American soldiers, and that's their job. That's how they get by. And
can I have another 50 of these cookies?
Yeah, I can. I'll put the order in. Anyway, they wind up basically being sent to a juvenile hall center because
That's what it is. It tastes like it has maybe butterscotch chips or something, or toffee chips.
Toffee. Yes.
That's the salt.
There you go.
Awesome.
Anyway, they get sent to this juvenile facility for doing something, for allegedly having done something that they really didn't do, and it's just all about their horrible, miserable neorealist struggle. It is a beautiful, poetic, wonderful film. Blows by 91 minutes. You got to get this. It's just absolutely beautiful. Very, very good transfer from E1, and also beautiful from last year is Beautiful. As in Biutiful, beautiful, which stars Javier Bardem, directed by the amazing Alejandro González Iñárritu, who did Babel and 21 Grams and Amores Perros, and he's such a wonderful filmmaker.
Yeah,
and
but this is the first time he's working without his longtime writing partner.
Exactly, which is why you don't get all of the intertwined stories. It's one continuous story with Javier Bardem basically as a guy who's kind of a shady character who is running an illicit business in Barcelona, and he's trying to raise his kids, and then on top of that he gets diagnosed with cancer. And, there's something really morally interesting in the fact that you're asking the audience to sympathize with a guy who has so many mixed moral trajectories. He's breaking the law. He's hiring illegal immigrants. He's not the nicest guy in the world, but he is a good dad. But does he really deserve to get cancer? And all of that puts you into an emotional place that is very, very difficult to deal with. It is a gritty, difficult, hard film to watch, but man, Bardem is so unbelievably good in it. And you know why he's amazingly good in this? You may not have known this. Did you know they shot this film in sequence?
I might have read that somewhere. It sounds
They
familiar.
shot it in sequence. In
Which
other
is
words,
a great choice. I mean, you
Which-
have to. How
but
can you
it's-
make those emotional swings
That's the
back
thing.
and forth and back and forth
That's
and back
the
and
thing.
forth?
But from a logistical standpoint, that means that you literally, let's say there's a scene where Bardem is in the bathroom and he's like crying in front of the mirror. That means that day you go to that location, you shoot the scene in the mirror, and then rather than shoot all the rest of the scenes that you have in that location, you pack up the whole crew and you go all the way across Barcelona to shoot the next shot, which could be just an insert shot at the fountain with the seagulls, and then you go back to the same location where the bathroom was. That's a lot of moving company moves.
That's right. That's expensive.
And that's expensive, and that's why this little film was $21 million. But it works. The performance speaks for itself. It is unbelievable. He won Best Actor at Cannes for this. This is on Blu-ray, and what a gorgeous Blu-ray it is from Lionsgate. It is. It just really is. It retains the graininess, that urgent, grainy, gritty look, but it gives it that Blu-ray sheen. It's like the perfect balance. Lionsgate did a great job with this. You get the director's flip notes on this, cast and crew interviews, trailer, nothing much by way of extras, but what a film it is. And then from Criterion, yay, Criterion finally gives a Blu-ray of Solaris. We love Tarkovsky's Solaris, at least I do. It is an existential, intellectual thinking man's super pretentious version of 2001 from 1972, based on the Stanislav Lem novel. Steven Soderbergh also did a version of it. Lem himself hated this film, and I believe was none too fond of Soderbergh's film either. Lem is he's a cranky Polish science fiction author who just thinks everybody's all screwed in the head. He hates everyone, but he writes good stuff. And Tarkovsky's Solaris is a great film. It's an unbelievable film. Much more all-encompassing than the Soderbergh film. The Soderbergh film is entirely in space. This one has an extended sequence on the Earth that begins in almost Terrence Malick territory. Really interesting. There is an incredible commentary on here by scholars Vida Johnson and Graham Petrie, who are, Tarkovsky experts, and I learned stuff that I never thought ever I would know about this film. And then there's also a little excerpt from a documentary about Lem himself, which is interesting. Video interviews with some of the people who were involved in the film, actors, composer, cinematographer, and just a fabulous Blu-ray transfer, for crying out loud. It is absolutely terrific. Tarkovsky, one of the great visualists of all time. The original DVD is terrific, and the Blu-ray is even better. Go get some. And then lastly, the Sophia Loren Award Collection. This is a trio of terrific Blu-rays for anyone who loves Sophia from Lorber Films. That is part of the Kino Lorber entity. In other words, it's from the Lorber Library, but Kino is releasing them on Blu-ray. And if you've seen any of the Buster Keaton stuff that Kino has been releasing, you know their Blu-rays rock. They are totally awesome, and these are no different. Now, the films themselves it's kind of a mixed bag. Now, the films themselves are, all three of these are directed by Vittorio De Sica as well, but they're not in the same near-realist vein that we were just talking about. The first one here is Sunflower, which is a straight-up melodrama with Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni. This is kind of De Sica doing a job for hire, and, it's got Henry Mancini music, for crying out loud.
I didn't even know they were properly introduced, De Sica and Mancini.
But you don't normally think of like a De Sica film. You wouldn't imagine
any music,
really? Much less Henry Mancini music. It's a little, this is a melodrama. It's not a near-realist film. It is a straight-up melodrama, and it's just, for people, forget about the De Sica aspect. It's just, if you love Mastroianni and Loren and you want to see a classic Italian pairing and sweeping music, go check it out. Now, one key reason that this all happened was because one of the producers on this was Carlo Ponti, and the other was Arthur Cohn. Now, Arthur Cohn is a legend, a legendary Hollywood fixture, and Carlo Ponti, of course, it was Sophia Loren's husband. He got done whatever he wanted to get done. He got David Lean to do Dr. Zhivago, so he gets whatever he wants. Marriage Italian Style is also Loren and Mastroianni, but this is a legitimate classic and a hugely popular film. De Sica gets to kind of be more of himself with this. But it's not near-realist, but it's unbelievably funny, so incredibly witty and biting. It gets into a lot of those kind of illicit moral quandaries that you get in Italian films and French films. Very, very funny. Very kind of edgy in a way that Hollywood films just they just didn't have the courage to at the time. And then lastly is Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Once again, Loren and Mastroianni doing, their very best for De Sica. This was also an Academy Award winner in 1964, although I don't really understand why. I am not a huge fan of this. I think it's kind of forced, and I think everybody gave this thing an Oscar just because they thought, why not? Let's just honor their careers. All three of these look terrific on Blu-ray, but what's really, really good, the only thing that I think makes Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow really appealing as opposed to the others is it's a 2-disc set, and it has the feature documentary Vittorio D on it, which is actually better than Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. It's all about De Sica and why he's important. So pretty good. And one thing about this, there's kind of if you're a fan of Pret-a-Porter, the Altman film, there's actually a reference in that film to a scene in Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. I don't like Pret-a-Porter particularly. I'm not a huge fan of Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, but, there it is. All right, Mark.
Excuse me.
Let's, new movies. Let's blow through them.
What?
Well, hold on here. Because there's like new movies and then there's classic movies on DVD. So let me get into some of the classic stuff. Yeah, I'll let you sort through which of those because we're not going to get through all of this. So
I want this one.
Yeah, I know you do. All right, The Man Who Would Be King in a Blu-ray disc from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers loves their little Blu-ray book deals.
Sean Connery has a funny mustache in that movie.
Yes, he does, with the lamb chops and everything. You know what? He and Michael Caine have always been best friends. They're really tight friends, and Michael Caine's career is now soaring again, and Sean Connery's isn't. But you know what? This is a terrific film directed by John Huston. Great epic adventure about a couple of rogues who are also Freemasons, and the whole thing takes place primarily in Afghanistan, which is hysterical because it just feels so incredibly prescient. Not Prussian, but prescient.
I would say prescient, is it not
prescient? I guess prescient.
I don't know. Is it prescient or prescient? I've heard people say prescient.
Prussian.
I think they're idiots.
Okay.
But I've heard it.
A great score by Maurice Jarre. Special features include just the trailer and the featurette, the original featurette. But gosh, what a great transfer. I mean, really, it just glows. And this thing always was a crappy DVD. I don't know if I said that when we reviewed the DVD, but I'm going to say it now. It was a crappy DVD. The transfer never looked right. If you've seen this film projected, you know how it looks, and it just... the Blu-ray does it justice. Beautiful justice. What else we got, Mark? You love that movie.
I don't love that movie. Well, we'll get to it in a second. The one I want to talk about is True Grit. Now, when True Grit, the remake, came out, everybody thought that True Grit was going to save the movie-going season. Back up the awards truck. It was going to be True Grit because last year was such an awards lousy season.
It was a dog season.
And it turns out that True Grit wound up when everybody saw when all the critics saw the film, all the tastemakers, of which believe it or not, Wade and I are actually two.
Incredibly.
Two tiny cogs in the taste-making machine as members of LAFCA. We saw the film and said, "Good. It doesn't save the year.
It's fine."
But yet it wound up being nominated for 65 Oscars.
It was kind of bizarre.
And I loved Haley Steinfeld. I was happy she got nominated.
You know
so
what?
Happy.
She makes the film. Everybody thought it was going to be the Bridges thing, that he just won an Oscar and he's back with the Coens and he's going to kind of do a post-Oscar impersonation of the dude in the Wild West, and it's going to be like the Big Lebowski meets some kind of a Wyatt Earp thing. That's what everybody sort of thought. It'll be like the Big Earp-bowski. No, it wasn't, and it wound up being the Haley Steinfeld show, which is amazing when she's up there with Matt Damon and Jeff Bridges, post-Oscar, and Josh Brolin, and yet it's Haley Steinfeld who steals the show. I mean, she's amazing. And that's no small accomplishment because the original film, it was almost Kim Darby who stole the show from John Wayne.
Well, that was the thing. You know, John Wayne, in the original, he won his only Oscar for it. And he's a little over the top. It's a bit of a silly movie, quite frankly, but Kim Darby is great in it.
Terrific.
And I don't know I couldn't imagine who they would have gotten to
live
up to that.
I know, because you look at it and you think, well, fine, Jeff Bridges, he'll do his own thing and they won't compare him to Wayne, and it'll probably be better than Wayne. It'll be different from Wayne, but who's the girl going to be?
But the one thing,
it all hinges on the girl. And man, did they get a good girl.
The one thing they did right was they went back to the original source material, Charles Portis's novel, and they took a lot of dialogue from that, and this dialogue is just delicious. It's great dialogue.
It is.
Every line just feels so authentic and terrific.
Yes,
it's got a great score by one of my favorite composers, Carter Burwell. And this is a 2-discer. This is a Blu-ray on one with a bunch of special features, including one on Charles Portis, which is a terrific little. It's a terrific little watch. And the other one is the DVD. So I think I'll put this over here.
Bravo, baby.
Yeah.
We've got.
I have all these.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want. We'll alternate here.
Fine.
You know, there's a great Marx Brothers box set out from Universal, which I recommend. There's a couple of Marx Brothers box sets. Universal has several of these films. They have a box set that includes all 5 of these movies I'm going to mention.
Well, these are all the Paramount ones, right? These are all Paramount.
This is all Universal.
All Universal.
This is the Universal.
Because they made Coconuts, Animal Crackers, Monkey Business, Horse Feathers. They made
for
Paramount.
Right, but there's a bankruptcy in there.
Ooh.
And a chunk of the Paramount library, it was the Paramount Publix with an X corporation. A large chunk of that library wound up in Universal's hands after the bankruptcy. I'm not familiar. I mean, it was like 1930-something when it all happened. And there was a reorganization, and so that's why a big chunk of Paramount's catalog from the 30s has wound up in Universal's hands today.
Interesting.
Interesting trivia.
No, it's not.
Anyway, the films I'm talking about are Duck Soup, Animal Crackers, Horse Feathers, Coconuts, and Monkey Business.
I love the Marx Brothers.
Now, a Night at the Opera is my all-time favorite. It's not obviously in here.
He's going to get 11 years in Tenworth, or 10 years in Leavenworth, whatever the hell it
great.
is.
It's just so insanely funny. I love all these movies, and that's why I say just get all of them. You don't need to buy them one at a time, but they are now available individually. Finally, Universal decided, let's make them just one-offs. So they throw them out there as one-offs, but you got to get the box set, because there's no point in saying, you know what, I really like Monkey Business, but I'm not so fond of Duck Soup. What are you, crazy? That's the Marx Brothers. You want them all. Get them all for crying out loud.
The Monkey Business was written by S.J. Perelman, who's also a great, for years, he was a great essayist for The New Yorker.
Yeah.
I actually just bought
so good.
I bought an anthology, a compendium of Perelman's essays for The New Yorker. The guy is so funny, and he wrote Monkey Business.
One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How I got in my pajamas, I'll never know.
So
good. Gosh, it's so good. Anyway, just get them all. I mean, it's nice that they finally put them out, but these could do with a Blu-ray treatment as well. Universal, get on it.
Yeah,
get on that.
We love the Marx Brothers. We also love Another Year. Another Year is the Mike Leigh film. That here's how Mike Leigh works. Mike Leigh doesn't write scripts. He sort of writes very detailed sort of the treatments, and he workshops them with the actors, and the actors and Mike Leigh together, they create the dialogue and shape the scenes and shape the overall arc of the piece, and then Mike Leigh goes off and writes the script based on that. And this is Jim Broadbent, Leslie Manville, and Ruth Sheen. They're all just terrific. And I like this film a lot. It's a Broadbent and Sheen playing sort of a happily married couple.
I love this film. I love this film. I saw it twice in a week.
Did you really?
Yeah.
They played. Broadbent and Sheen play these. They've been married for like 30 years, and they're the anchor for the family and for the neighborhood and the friends around them. And this woman, played by Leslie Manville, who should have won an Oscar, should have been nominated for an Oscar, should have won something for this role. She's so good. She's that sort of sad sack kind of, spinster woman who shows up to their door with another story of woe, and she can never fall in love, and her car is breaking down, all this crazy stuff. And it's all about what happens to this family over the course of a year, and how people come and people go and people fall in and out of love, but this one family is always there as the anchor, and it's just great. And there's a commentary by Mike Leigh, who's a testy little guy, but he's good in this commentary. And there's a making of, which is fairly useless. But it's on Blu-ray, which is, do you have to see it on Blu-ray? Not really, but you know what? Support Blu-ray and buy it.
Sure.
What's that?
Here's
What's
the thing.
What's that, Unky Wade?
Here's the deal. They released the Rocky Undisputed Collection. MGM did, via Fox. They're kind of doing their same deal. The MGM Fox Consortium. They released the Undisputed Collection back in late 2009. It was like November of 2009 when they released all the Rocky movies on Blu-ray. Big, nice, beautiful, sparkling, spanking boxed set. And now they're kind of peeling everything back, and this is an attempt at double dipping. Everybody's imitating the Warner Brothers Blu-ray book concept, where you get the Blu-ray and then you get a nice little booklet that makes it somehow feel like it's okay that you spent $30 on something that should cost $19. But they've now released the original Rocky, all by its limited little lonely self in a limited edition Blu-ray, with a booklet, photos and trivia and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, but really no extras. So what's the point? I know a lot of people don't want all the Rocky films. They don't want Rocky Balboa and Rocky 5, and they don't want Rocky 4 and I Would Break You and
awesome.
Mr. T, and they kind of want it. They just want the original Oscar-winning film. Got to tell you, in many respects, Rocky 2 is a better movie than the original Rocky. And Rocky 3 is terrific. It's friggin' Mr. T, for crying out loud. Clubber Lang, give me a break. He's great.
The fool.
Eye of the Tiger.
He pities all fools.
Yeah, Eye of the freaking Tiger. Come on, it's great. Love it. So anyway, get the box set if you're going to do anything. But it ain't bad. I mean, if you just want the original Rocky on Blu-ray, this is a very nice package. It's very sweet and lovely.
This really has no extras.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing. Get the box set.
Well,
Box
it has
set's
the
where it's at.
book, but I don't know what that
whatever.
gets you.
It does, you thumb through it and then you're done. It's the movie. It's about the movie.
Do I want this?
No, not really. No, you want the box
Is that
set?
because you want it?
No, it's
Then give it to me.
box set. Get the box set.
No, I'll never get the box set.
Why?
Because I don't want to see Rocky 12.
Sure
And
you
plus
do.
You can give me that for free.
Well, when's your birthday? It's like a month away, isn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, a couple of Adam Sandler movies that I'm fond of one of them, not fond of the other one. Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Now, Mark just threw the other one at me, which is the new one, which is Just Go With It.
Yeah, just go.
Let's cover the old ones. Let's cover the old ones. The old ones are on Blu-ray now. Billy Madison is just an absolutely horrible, horrible movie. I think it's unbelievably unfunny. It's one of those man-child things that just doesn't work unless Jerry Lewis is in it. But you got Tamra Davis, the director, doing a commentary and outtakes and deleted scenes and all the junk that was on the previous DVD edition. This is just one of those universal spit-em-out deals, as is Happy Gilmore, though I think Happy Gilmore is funny because Bob Barker is in it, and he punches Adam Sandler and calls him a bitch. That alone is pretty unbelievably funny.
I admit it. That's cool.
It is. It's hysterical. It's very, very funny. Now, it's hard for me to admit that because that's the only time you may ever hear me admitting that there is something funny in a Dennis Dugan film. That's it. This is the only time I've ever admitted that anything in a Dennis Dugan film is funny. Otherwise, he's the worst. He's just dreadful. Again, deleted scenes and outtakes. Not a great Blu-ray. Just spitting it out. The new film is Just Go With It, which is on Blu-ray and DVD together in a combo pack. Do you have to see it on Blu-ray? Not really.
Do you have to see it at all?
Not really. It's also Dennis Dugan directed, as are a number of Adam Sandler's films. For some reason, he keeps going back to Dugan. I guess they have a good working relationship or something. But you know what this is? This is the Cactus Flower, for crying out loud. They just remade the Cactus Flower, which won Goldie Hawn an Oscar in 68 or 69, and which is terrific, based on a great play. And it had Walter Matthau, the whole idea of a doctor who's got, he has to get his assistant to pretend that she's his wife so that he can, try to seduce this sweet young thing. It's funny in the Cactus Flower. It doesn't work here. It just doesn't friggin' work. It's not funny. Jennifer Aniston gives it a great college try, and in the Goldie Hawn part, you have Brooklyn Decker, who really doesn't do anything differently than any other, attractive blonde Hollywood ingenue would do. So don't expect anything brilliant. Anyway, those are out there, all on Blu-ray. Beautiful. Mark, talk about that movie. You're such a fan of it.
Wade, there's a movie out there.
Yes.
It's a movie unlike any movie you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good until it becomes bad. And that movie's called Rubber. Rubber is a film by a
It's
French,
about a prophylactic, right?
you know what? It may as well have been. It is about a car tire roaming the desert, comes to life and kills people with his telekinetic powers. That is what Rubber's about. Now you're saying, what do you mean it's about a car tire who comes to life and kills people with his telekinetic powers? You know what it's about, Wade? It's about a car tire that comes to life and kills people with his telekinetic powers. That's the movie. It is an 85-minute experiment by a French guy named Quentin Dupieux.
They shot this with 7Ds, did they?
They shot this with 7D. They shot this on a 7D, and it's actually it's you know what? The way they anthropomorphize the tire is actually very clever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of clever stuff in it. But I think it sort of outstays its welcome, and it's one of those things where It's basically just really well executed nonsense.
If anyone wants to wonder, 7D, what are they talking about? 3D? Is it 3D with 4 more dimensions? No. 7D is, for those of you who are gear nerds.
Actually, he shot it with a Canon 5D.
Oh, he shot it with a 5D.
But please, go ahead.
Well, anyway, just so that everybody knows, and I'm going to be doing more on this later on. I'm kind of doing a behind-the-scenes thing, which I want to fill our viewers in on, our listeners, because a lot of you probably want to make your own stuff someday, and you want to know what the workflow is if you want to make your own DVDs. So I'm going to give it to you because our good friend Tim Cogshell and I have been doing a lot of experimenting lately with digital workflow, and the 5D and the 7D are Canon cameras. They are what's called HDSLRs, which is that they are still cameras capable of shooting high-definition video, but they have the capability to shoot unbelievably good video with these great Canon lenses. So a lot of people are using the 5D and the 7D. The only thing that differentiates them is the size of the chip and the cost. But the 7D is amazing. The 5D is even more amazing. 7D will give you everything you need, but they're shooting a lot of movies with these things now, and you get a great look out of them. I happen to own a 7D, and it's
Don't show off
it's
your
quite
wealth.
I've gotten a 5D if I had wealth. We also have. We were just speaking about the Rocky boxed set, and people who may not want all the other Rocky movies. Well, we got the same dilemma here. Warner Brothers has just released the Superman motion picture anthology. And this is a bit of a hodgepodge, I got to tell you. This is 5 films, including 2 extended cuts, and more than 20 hours of extras. There is so much here, you would have to literally be from the planet Krypton to actually want to watch everything that's on here. Superman the movie, terrific. Richard Donner, love him. You know, his wife, Lauren Schuler Donner, just produced the new X-Men movie.
Yes.
Yeah, she's in the game. She doesn't like 3D either. Superman the movie, the expanded edition, thanks to Richard Donner. Superman 2, the Richard Lester cut. Yes, that's the Richard Lester who did the Beatles movies and The Knack and How to Get It, and he eventually wound up doing a Superman movie. Very weird. Superman 2, the Donner cut, before he was fired. And then, on top of that, for all of you that really, really want the crown jewels in this series, there is Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. The 2 films which have Mark's laughing and he's going to cry in a moment. 2 films which really have no reason to exist ever at all under any circumstances.
Well, wasn't 4 like they lost the rights and Cannon picked up the rights and cranked
it's terrible.
Out
And
Peace.
Superman is fighting himself, and it's just there's some
and
nuclear
Man.
It's Nuclear Man. It's dreadful. It's horrible. Superman Returns is also on here, which is the Bryan Singer thing that kind of tanked, and they just sort of threw that on here so they could sell something. Really, honestly, truly, it just.
I like it.
Mark you just want the Donner films.
I want Superman Returns, Superman 1, and the Donner cut of 2.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah, well, those will be available independently soon enough, and that's what you want to get. Don't get this thing. It's loaded with more extras than you can shake a stick at, and it's got TV specials, and it's just so much stuff, and it's all like they even have the complete Fleischer Superman cartoons from the 1940s.
That's cool. Those are cool.
Well, they're great, but why put them on this? Get them separately.
Let me see.
Anyway, yeah, whatever.
I want it.
Moving on.
Filmmakers' commentaries, the Fleischer cartoons. I'm going to get this.
But you want Superman 3 and 4, really?
Well, I'd be getting Superman
Quest
1.
for Peace?
I'd be awesome. I'd be getting Superman.
You want Richard Pryor and Robert Vaughn on a Superman set?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
I'd be getting Superman
Richard
2.
Pryor was in a Superman film.
Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman Returns, the Fleischer stuff.
We're running out of time.
Yeah,
we're running out of time. You got a bunch of things there.
Huh?
We got to talk about the company men.
Oh, wait, before we talk about Company Man, which actually I kind of liked, can you look at the cover?
Yes.
And look at the shot of Ben Affleck on the cover.
Yeah, I know.
Does that not look like him?
It looks like he had a stroke. But Chris Cooper they all look like they had strokes.
They really do. I mean,
scary.
look how wide Tommy Lee Jones's face is.
Yeah.
This is a terrible
look, it has a new
airbrush
alternate
job.
ending where they don't all go broke and where Wall Street saves itself.
You know, I like this movie. I did. Well, did you like this movie?
You know what? I have problems with it. I think it's very well done, but I think completely divorced from reality. A lot of people criticize it for exactly the right reasons, which is that John Wells made a movie about the economic meltdown and how it affected people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And we're supposed to sympathize. It's like, oh my gosh, Ben Affleck, he had a house and 5 cars. And,
he had like a 3-story house.
A 3-story house and a yacht. And now, my gosh, he's got to move in with his in-laws and sell his yacht. It's like, it's very hard to sort of see that as emblematic of the economic meltdown. If it were about like a steel worker who lost his job or an auto worker who lost, then suddenly, you'd have something that resonated a little more. But these guys is like, really, am I going to terribly feel sorry for, Chris Cooper? Because he's just going to go find another job with another corporation somewhere. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones in this movie, you're supposed to feel sorry for him? Why? He's got more money than God. So it's very hard for me to wrap myself around sympathy in this.
You know what? As much as I hate to say this, rich people are people too, so it is possible for them to feel totally crestfallen. Yeah. But it's not like the characters that John Wells, who wrote and directed it, it's not like these characters are ones that you particularly empathize with.
As a story, I'm saying for it to work as a story. I'm not making a political or a social judgment. I'm just saying as a story. It's like
no, but I could get into the idea of rich people losing their jobs and being depressed. I just want to say, if I cared about the characters,
forget about Ben Affleck, Chris Cooper, Costner, Tommy Lee Jones, Maria Bello. I love Maria Bello. This woman should be such a huge star. There's a new movie out called Beautiful Boy that she's in with Michael Sheen. People got to go see this movie. It's an Anchor Bay release. It's going to be in theaters for like 10 minutes before it goes on to Blu-ray and DVD. I mean, it's a little kind of a very short release, but what a great movie. It's what Blue Valentine should have been. It's about a couple who finds out that their son has not only killed himself, he was like a rampage shooter at college before he killed himself, and it's how it impacts their marriage. Unbelievable movie. Unreal.
Yeah.
It's a great film. She is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
You know what's not phenomenal? Sanctum.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Sanctum, the studio really... Universal.
Sanctum kind of sank.
It did. Well, because Universal really tried to shove this thing down our throats by saying it was shot with, like, James Cameron's Avatar 3D rigs. So, oh, my God, it's got to be good. And this is back when everybody was really trying to push 3D down our throats. And, of course, what they don't realize is that the movie sucks. I mean, there's some suspenseful stuff in it. I admit it. It's underwater, and who doesn't have a fear of drowning, so it does get a little bit creepy. But it's just not a good movie. There's a lot of just lame father-son stuff going on. And you know what? It's not in 3D, obviously, because, it's just a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I know.
It's just lame. Although, if you're going to get it, I'll say this. Don't get the DVD. Get the Blu-ray Get the Blu-ray disc with the digital copy. You're better off with that.
The schmutzy.
But you're really better off not watching it.
I got 2 more classic films here. And then we'll let Mark wrap out with whatever time we have left on a couple of other pieces of junk. Because those are junk, both of them. The Stuntman, look, I'm sorry. If you want to see somebody actually portray what a film director really is like, or at least like in their own head, you want to watch Peter O'Toole go completely crazy in The Stuntman. Now, the film dates a little bit. It's from 1979, the year that Peter O'Toole lost Best Actor to Dustin Hoffman in Kramer vs. Kramer. Peter O'Toole has still not won an Oscar except for the honorary Oscar he got a couple of years ago. But Richard Rush, who has made very few films since, really made a hell of a classic with this. Again, dates a little bit. Tons of extras, though, on this, thanks to MPI and Severin Films. They load this Blu-ray up. It is loaded to the gills with great stuff. Audio commentary with Rush and Peter O'Toole, Steve Railsback, who plays the stuntman, Barbara Hershey, who's great, Alex Rocco, Chuck Ball, Sharon Farrell. It's terrific. You also get a featurette on the career of Richard Rush, which is great. Peter O'Toole looking back, and a bunch of other featurette stuff that is it's just wonderful. It's really, really good. And the one thing that's most important here is the famous documentary on this, the feature-length documentary, The Sinister Saga of the Making of the Stuntman. This was out on the previous Blu-ray, the previous DVD special edition. It is here again on the Blu-ray. Get this. Upgrade is absolutely essential. It is a terrific Blu-ray. And then lastly... Clarence Brown's Night Flight. This is an old movie that's people have been waiting for this on DVD forever. This is an old thing with Myrna Loy, Lionel Barrymore, Clark Gable, Helen Hayes, John Barrymore, Robert Montgomery. An unbelievable bunch of stars all piled in here in an old classic black and white film that's really not great, but it's a nice melodrama, and it's got a certain kind of sweeping vintage feel to it. And if you're an aviation buff, you'll love it. It's just it's kind of a nice trip back in time. So that's finally on DVD, not Blu-ray, and it's got a great cartoon on it, When the Cat's Away, which is almost as good as the movie.
Blue Crush 2 is the direct-to-Blu-ray DVD and digital copy. It's the direct-to-digital copy, sequel to Blue Crush. And it's not very good. It's all about this young girl who wants to go to South Africa to surf a big wave. and there's a lot of pretty girls.
The original wasn't very good.
That is true.
Right.
Finally, we have, as we wrap this out, we have Nicolas Cage in Drive Angry. Now, Drive Angry was another 3D film.
Oh, man, did this die.
Well, because it's Nicolas Cage, and all Nicolas Cage films die.
Oh, gosh. Special edition Blu-ray. Well, there it is. Well, listen, I am not on Stupid for Movies this week, once again, and won't be for quite a while. But do tune in Thursday live, 8 p.m. at stupidformovies.com. I will be there watching as a fan for a change. So for now, it's Wade and Mark signing out. See you next week.